dated 6th July 1955. My dear brother, your letter of 28th June 1955, I am glad to know that you are hopeful of change in your inner life. It is, of course, unnatural to expect everything to correspond with your tendencies and liking, and so far none, including even the great saints or avatars, have ever had that in his life. Everyone is faced with adversities alike. The only difference is that some take them joyfully as a gift from the Lord, while others grudge them, lament over them, and create a feeling of resentment against them. This adds to our miseries and brings us to a state of distraction. The best and perhaps the only solution is to try to mold ourselves so as to fit in with the circumstances and the environments. Adversity will then lose its pinching effect. That is the true implication of our seventh commandment of Sajimark, to which I draw your special attention. The inspiring example of Saint Mirabai offers a lively picture of devotion and surrender. She joyfully took the poison merely on being told that it was sent for her by Lord Krishna. However, under exceptional circumstances causing uncontrollable disturbances, one may resort to prayer for the restoration of the peace of mind. Your resolve to resign and surrender to the will of the Master is encouraging, and goes to show that you are now cooperating with me to a greater degree. If I am informed in detail of your day-to-day condition during the meditation time and at other hours of the day separately, I may be in a better position to understand your inner state and may perhaps be more helpful to you. With best wishes, yours affectionately, Ramchandra, Sahajanpur, 1955. Dear brother, the law of karma referred in your letters is an established theory of the Hindu philosophy, supported by almost all the great sages of the past, but does not mean we should be an idle spectator of things that befall to our lot and suffer things tamely and passively. God has bestowed us with reason, intelligence, and vigor. We must just we must judge and understand things rightly and apply our vigor and strength in accomplishing what stands fair and just in our sound and unbiased judgment. We must not be led away by our old set prejudices, nor by our sense of liking or attraction, but we must take things on their merit and stick to that which is just and fair, not minding whether it suits to our liking or not. When this is achieved, all our thoughts and actions assume the form of duty, and we are considerably relieved of the responsibility of the result, that it shall be all the same to us whether whether we meet with success or failure in our endeavors. Suffering and worries come in the form as we understand them only when we think ourselves to be the actual doer of the things. But this idea falls grossly short of the mark of real devotion, not to speak of surrender. I may as well say that worries and sufferings arise only when there is a conflict between our will and God's will. Such a conflict, if it does not exist, is the sufficient proof of the want of devotion, want of true devotion. In fact, sufferings in their absolute form, as they come to us from nature, are the least painful. It is really we who make them so. We aggravate their effect by making additions to them through our indiscriminate thoughts and actions. Thus, most of our sufferings are our own creation. If we stop their aggravation and give up adding force to them through our will or thought, we will find that they almost disappear from sight altogether. I have sufficiently dealt with this topic in the Reality at Dawn on pages 28 to 34. Your interpretation of the word wishes as to be referring to sufferings may be a far-fetched implication of the word wishes. Wishes is the use in its simplest sense, meaning all that we wish for or desire in life. Our desires are a great extent the cause of miseries. So we pray to God to bestow upon us the state of desirelessness or freedom from wishes. It is almost certain that unless it is achieved, we can never acquire a balanced state of mind. Desirelessness means we stop further formation of samskaras. What remains then is only to undergo the effect of previous samskaras, which, when exhausted, lead us to the level of liberation. Thus, under the system of spiritual training prescribed by my master, the purging of mind and the cleaning of samskaras are the essential. I am accordingly serving you to the best of my capacity, trying all the while to bring you as early as possible to the state of harmony and peace. Thus I think you are not merely wasting your time with me. I am confident with you all the show that you will surely see the light of the day even within this very life. May I be sure that you are cooperating with me as best as you can. When I understand from your letter of 20th July 1955, in which you stated that the idea of surrender has begun to work with me. I am very grateful to you for all your endeavors in this respect and sincerely wish you to acquire soon a balanced state of mind unaffected by circumstances or occasional outbursts of inner feelings and emotions. I firmly believe that my Master's grace, it may not be far off thing to you. To quote my Master's words, we are to adopt the life of the waterfowl, inasmuch as its wings never get wet, although it remains in water all the time. It corresponds with the example of a lotus which though in water is always dry. Thus, being immersed within the water of worldliness, we may, like lotus or waterfowl, be absolutely dry and affected by it. It is possible only when we transform our life of a body into life as spirit. गीतल ब्रह्मण्यादाय कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा करोति लिप्यते न स पापेन पदपत्र इवाम्बस. Same thing is said. Lord Krishna is told पदपत्र ब्रह्मण्यादाय कर्म. Important is we must make our actions Ishvara Parabhava Srishti God as the base. How we can make that? We think all what we do, minute by minute, is the order coming from the ultimate reality, good or bad. Society, society may think something good, but in another society, another community, it may be wrong. So, good and wrong these are ideas which varies from place to place, person to person, like that. So, God has created, Bhagavan has created this entire universe. Why he has created? To implement his plan of action. Before creation it is all just uniform, without any variance, uniform of consciousness only. But he wanted to bring about some variance in terms of name and form. Uso akampusam prajaya yeti uso akamayata. He desired to bring about name and form. Prajama yeti, last Vedas declare. So we have to. So think all this what is happening is his will being implemented through all creational being, not only human being, but animals, everything. Only thing animals and human beings, because animals do not have discriminative power. They have, but not up to the mark. We have got intellect, we have got human beings or intellect. Nature is supposed to be superior to animals. So he is in a better position to understand. That's what he says. So, what we have to think is that everything is coming from him only. His desire, naturally, what I want to bring to your notice is, what you do, I do, or anybody is doing is his plan only. His ideas only we are implementing. But unfortunately, not knowing this basic aspect, we think we are the karta and doers and enjoyers. Karta bhokta, doers, enjoyers. Naturally, where the things go wrong, human beings enjoys it, he becomes happy. And when the things go wrong, he becomes worried and because he attributes everything to his own self-doing, forgetting that he is doing, implementing the God's will and power. That's how, and this process is a spiritual process, not a scientific process, it is a spiritual process. Those who believe firmly that he is implementing the will of God, he is more spiritual, good or bad, that's a different thing. We have several examples. Bhakta Ramadasa, you know, everybody knows in Andhra Pradesh, everybody knows. He was Tahsildar. He wanted to build a temple. And he knew that using the funds of the government is wrong. Because he was Tahsildar, he was collecting the revenue from the people, and he diverted to the construction of the temple, knowing well that it is wrong. That means that he does not know it. He knows it, the consequences of diverting the government funds. And naturally he suffered for it. Samvida deyam, this is bhiya deyam, hriya samvida deyam. If you want to give as a charity, Vedas says, hiya deyam, bhiya deyam, samvida, hiya deyam, ayo, hiya అంటే సిగ్గుపడుకుని సింహం అన్నాడు. అయ్యో నేను ఇచ్చేది చాలా తక్కువని ఇస్తున్నానే అని సిగ్గుపడతాడట. హిరియా అంటే సిగ్గుపడుకుంచు, నేను ఇచ్చేది చాలా తక్కువని అతనికి అనుకో. హిరియాదే భియాదేయం, భియాదే భయపడుకుని ఇమ్మంటాడు. సంవిధ అగైన్ సంవిధాదేయం, అగైన్ ఆ చారిటీ కూడా, నువ్వు ఇచ్చే చారిటీ కూడా నిన్ను బాధలు పెట్టకూడదు, నీ సంసారాన్ని నీ కుటుంబాన్ని బాధలు పెట్టకూడదు అని వేదం చెప్తున్నది. బట్ సమ్ పీపుల్ హ్యావ్ నాట్ అండర్స్టూడ్ దిస్ అండ్ నాట్ ఫాలోడ్, దే సఫర్డ్. Satya Harichandra and Nala and other people, even now also people some waited. So don't forget that charity is good, but at not the cost of your own life, your family, who dependents, at the cost of the life of the dependents upon you, what you are doing. As got Samvidadeyam, he said. The word is Veda is Samvidadeyam. Give in such a way that it does not adversely affect your family and life and all that. People did not understand, thinking that gives, and history they praised him. Satya Harichandra and other things, they have praised him, though he suffered all that thing. But it is again the Vedas. He has not done that, he has suffered for it. Bhakta Ramdas also like that.
కానీ ఇప్పుడు ఇచ్చే చారిటీస్ అన్నీ ఇంత చెక్కుని ఇంత పెద్దగా చేసి టీవీలో కనిపించేటట్లు,
this is other way of it.
డాంబికం,
other way of it. It varies. But whatever it may be, you give it as charity if you want to give it, but in such a way that it does not affect adversely the family life of the giver. That's why word Veda has Samvidadeyam. So that is how things happen. Vedeshu yajna tapassu chaiva daneshu punya ate yogi brahma. All these things are good merit, you may earn it. Vedeshu yajnasu, reading the Vedas, doing yajnas, kratus. Nowadays Veda yajnas, homas have become common. Chandi yoga, Chandi homas and other homas become very common. You see everywhere. టీవీలో వస్తుంది అండ్ దేర్ ఇస్ ఎ ఏజెన్సీ విచ్ అడ్వర్టైజెస్ ఇట్ ఇఫ్ యూ గివ్ సచ్ మనీ యూ
Everything they will provide.
provide you and you can do that. And people think that it gives merit and gives it's not right. And that's why Vedesu, Yajnasu, Tapasya, Yajna, think that's better. Of all these things, meditation is most profitable, he says. Tapasya, Dhanesha, Punya Palam Patishtam. The Punya, when you get by all these things, yoga exceeds everything. Yoga means surrender. You realize your own true self. All things comes because you feel you are the body, mind, intellect. Ego, it is there, it is based ego. But when you cross the ego and go into ultimate reality, you become the reality itself. That is much more. That is much more meritorious. And what I mean is punya, earning the punya concern. I told that already you know that even the people who are going to Sargaloka, heaven, they go to Sargaloka or heaven. But the ruler of the Sargaloka, Indra, his life is also temporary. I told that story to you. That and after the term is over, he will sent away. So many have come and gone. They have not liberated from the vicious circle of birth and death. Only 2 have been liberated. That's already I told you that case. All these things are not bad. So studying in first class A, B, C, D, is not bad. But always I want to read only that way means.
Progress should be there.
See, one must go. You didn't go away. See, it is only temporary. All these things are temporary. The ultimate thing is that you merging in the ultimate reality itself. That's why rivers so restlessly run until they go on running until they go and merge in the sea. Any river you see, all big rivers, they start from there, they go on flowing with restlessly till they go and merge in the sea. Like that. Our mind should be like that. And it should be restless to reach the ultimate reality so that it can become the sea itself, reality itself. I have seen this aspect, Godavari merging near beyond Rajahmundry into the sea. The water of the Godavari about half mile before merging tasted salty. So villages, people living that they could not enjoy that water because it tastes salty. Like that human beings also, your mind is also like that. So people think, what are the signs, symptoms of becoming ultimate reality, merging the ultimate reality? The signs indicate that he is going, indicate only that he is merging in the ultimate reality. And the natural signs vary depending upon to the what extent he is there to merge into the ultimate reality. When he merges in ultimate, there are no signs. Once he merges in the reality, there is no signs. Because mind is not there. He is going beyond mind. That is called what we call the Samadhi Avastha. Your mind is running. Once you go into sleep, all your restlessness, all your mind, because mind is not functioning, you are gone. As the ego, you are gone. This is like that. So these one should understand these things. Doing things good, but understanding is also necessary. people think only bhakti, Mula Bhakti. So many stories are there of this Mula Bhakti and other things. They are not bad, but thing is, what happens is, they helped him in his spiritual evolution to tell that the story is created, but unfortunately it gives a negative effect like that.
ఆ స్టోరీస్ ఇంటెన్షన్ వేరే ఉంది, ఇంటెన్షన్ స్టోరీస్ ఇంటెన్షన్ వేరు, ఎఫెక్ట్ డిఫరెంట్గా అయింది సొసైటీ మీద.
That's what I say. I have written all when I was doing yoga abhyas, I written my diaries. A time came when I could not write anything. I stopped it, and what I written I published also that. Now if I want, I am not able to write anything. What changes are coming, I am not able to note them or create them, because there is nothing to write. There is nothing to write, and that is things go on like that. Our waterfall be absolutely dry and unaffected by it. It is possible only, this is referring to same Gita, Padmapatra Ivambasa. Padmapatra Ivambasa, just like what a leaf of lotus leaf in the water, it is there, it does not get wetted above that. He was referring to this. It is possible only when we transform our life of body into life as spirit. Once this life is transferred into spirit, there is nothing to be written. Even if you want to write, nothing comes out of it. Because all these things are just like a staircases. You are building the staircases. It is on climbing the stairs. Once you come to the
last
step over, there is nothing to be, no staircases. You can't stand there as staircases and think that you entered this. That's the situation. The life of spirit can be attained by submitting ourselves to this superior power or divine force. Evidently, the process thereof can only be, as I have often expressed to other disciples, deposit everything in the Master's treasure, having no concern with it. One might say that I am speaking of lofty things which are unattainable. One can begin it even from the first day of spiritual life. We will soon begin to realize it as his condition improves, and finally feel himself relieved of everything of his belongings. The real need of the time for you is to remain absorbed within yourself as far as possible. This is, in other words, the real form of Master is remembrance, of which you speak in your last letter of the 6th instant, which I received after I had almost finished this above reply. I am exceedingly glad to know that the flow of events seems likely to offer me a chance of having your darshan at my humble dwelling here, with best wishes. So